Liam Harrington had everything: wealth, power, and a reputation that made people either want him or fear him. But when a call about his ailing grandfather leads him to a quiet care home, he meets Amara, a woman who sees past his billions. As their worlds collide, Liam must decide, will he fight for the empire he built or the love he never saw coming? Before we get into the story, comment below where in the world you are watching from today. The glass elevator climbed 40 floors in seconds, carrying Liam Harrington to the top of the tower that bore his family name. At 36, he was at the peak of his power, CEO of Harrington Enterprises, with a net worth that made him one of the richest bachelors in America. His custom Italian suit fit perfectly over his athletic build, and his dark hair was precisely styled, not a strand out of place. "Mr. Harrington, the board is waiting," his assistant said as soon as he stepped into the hallway. Liam barely nodded, walking briskly toward the conference room. People scrambled out of his way. That's how it had always been. People either wanted something from him or feared him. After years of false friendships and gold-digging relationships, he preferred the fear. The meeting went as expected. Another company acquired, another 100 million added to the Harrington empire. The board members smiled and nodded, but Liam knew they were just yes men who cared only about their year-end bonuses. "Great job, Liam," Victoria Chambers said afterward, her hand lingering on his arm a bit too long. She was the newest board member, beautiful and ambitious. "We should celebrate. Dinner tonight?" Liam looked at her perfectly manicured nails against his suit jacket and forced a polite smile. "Can't tonight, prior commitment." It was a lie, but one he'd gotten used to telling. He'd seen that look in women's eyes too many times, the calculation, the assessment of his worth, his wealth, his power. Never him. "Another time then," Victoria said, her smile unfazed. His office offered a panoramic view of the city, but Liam barely noticed it anymore. He sat at his desk, going through reports and emails until his phone rang, not his business line, his personal cell. "Mr. Harrington, this is Sunset Grove Care Home. I'm calling about your grandfather, Henry Harrington." Liam's fingers tensed around the phone. "What's happened?" "Nothing serious, sir. But the doctor has adjusted his medication, and we thought you should know. Also, he's been asking for you." Guilt washed over Liam. He hadn't visited in over a month. His grandfather was the only person who had ever truly loved him, not his money. And now the old man was tucked away in a care home, while Liam built an empire that meant nothing to either of them. "I'll come by tomorrow," Liam said. "That would be wonderful. Your grandfather will be thrilled." After hanging up, Liam stared at his calendar. Meetings back to back for weeks. He opened a drawer and pulled out an old photo, himself at 10 years, old, sitting on a dock with his grandfather, fishing rods in hand. Both smiling. That was before his parents died, before the family business consumed his life, before he learned how cold the world really was. He made a decision and called his assistant. "Clear my schedule for tomorrow afternoon." The next day, Liam drove himself to Sunset Grove, his sleek black Aston Martin looking out of place among the modest vehicles in the parking lot. The care home was expensive. He made sure his grandfather had the best, but it still felt like a betrayal to leave him here. At the reception desk, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes looked up. "Mr. Harrington, we weren't expecting you so early. Is that a problem?" His tone was sharper than intended. "Not at all," she said, unfazed by his curtness. "Your grandfather is in the garden with Amara." "Amara?" "One of our care assistants. She's been wonderful with your grandfather." Liam followed. The path to the garden, slowing when he heard laughter. His grandfather's laughter. He hadn't heard that sound in years. The garden was well maintained, with flowering shrubs and benches placed in the shade of old oak trees. And there, walking slowly along a stone path, was his grandfather. Henry Harrington had once been a tall, imposing man. Now, at 82, he was slightly stooped, his movements careful. But he was smiling. Beside him walked a young woman in simple blue scrubs, her hand gently supporting his elbow. She had warm brown skin and curly black hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. She wasn't conventionally beautiful in the way of the women who usually surrounded Liam, but there was something about her smile that made him stop and stare. "And then I told the bank manager, Sir, I may be old, but I'm not senile enough to think that's a fair interest rate. Henry finished a story, and the young woman, Amara, laughed with genuine delight. You really said that, Mr. Henry? You're too much. When you've lived as long as I have, you earn the right to speak your mind, Henry replied, then looked up and saw Liam. His face brightened even more. Liam, my boy! Amara looked up, her smile fading slightly as her eyes met Liam's. There was no recognition there, no awareness of who he was beyond a visitor for her patient. It was a novel experience for Liam, who was used to being instantly recognized. Grandpa, Liam said, approaching and embracing the old man gently. You came, Henry said, patting his back. I was just telling Amara about the time you and I caught that monster bass at Lake Whitney. You've been holding out on me, Mr. Henry, Amara said with a warm smile. You never mentioned your grandson was a fisherman. Was, Liam corrected. I haven't been fishing in years. That's a shame, she said, and there was no artifice in her voice, just simple honesty. Mr. Henry talks about those fishing trips like they were the best days of his life. Liam felt another pang of guilt. They were good days. Well, Amara said, I'll leave you two to catch up. Mr. Henry, remember to use your walking stick if you get tired. She turned to Liam with a professional smile. Nice to meet you, Mr. Harrington. As she walked away, Liam found himself watching her. She moved with purpose, stopping to check on an elderly woman in a wheelchair, her face lighting up as she knelt to speak to her at eye level. She's something special, isn't she? Henry said, following Liam's gaze. The care assistant, I suppose she seems competent. Henry chuckled. Competent? Amara Johnson is the only person in this place who treats me like a human being instead of a job duty. She brings me books, remembers how I like my coffee, and listens to my old stories like they're actually interesting. Liam guided his grandfather to a bench under a large oak tree. I should come more often. Yes, you should, Henry agreed without accusation. But I understand you're busy running the company. The company that you built, Liam reminded him. Henry waved his hand dismissively. I built it to secure our family's future, not to replace our family. Your grandmother would be heartbroken to see how you've closed yourself off. Liam winced. His grandmother had died when he was a teenager, and her loss had been devastating for both him and his grandfather. I'm not closed off. I'm focused. On. What, making more money? You already have more than you could spend in 2 lifetimes. Before Liam could respond, his phone rang. He glanced at it. His CFO. I need to take this. Henry sighed. Of course you do. Liam stepped away, handling a minor crisis that could have waited. When he returned, his grandfather was deep in conversation with Amara again. She had brought him a cup of tea and was showing him something on a tablet. Look at this, Liam, Henry called. Amara's showing me pictures of her community garden project. They're growing vegetables for the local food bank. Amara looked embarrassed. It's just a small thing some friends and I started. She's being modest, Henry said proudly, as if her accomplishments were his to boast about. She works here full-time, volunteers at that garden, and she's taking classes to become a nurse. That's impressive, Liam said, surprised at the sincerity in his own voice. Amara shrugged. Just trying to make a difference where I can. She checked her watch. I should get back to work. Your grandfather has physical therapy in half an hour, Mr. Harrington. Liam, he corrected automatically. She nodded with a polite smile that didn't reach her eyes. Liam. As she walked away, Henry chuckled. She doesn't like you very much. What? Why wouldn't she like me? She doesn't even know me. Exactly. You're just another rich relative who rarely visits. Henry's eyes twinkled with mischief. She's got your number, my boy. That's ridiculous, Liam muttered, but he found himself glancing in the direction she had gone. They spent another hour together, Henry sharing stories about his fellow residents and the daily routine at Sunset Grove. When it was time for his therapy session, Liam walked him to the recreation room. Come back soon, Henry said, gripping Liam's hand with surprising strength. And next time, bring your fishing rod. There's a pond here. Nothing like Lake Whitney, but the company makes all the difference. I will, Liam promised, meaning it. On his way out, he passed the reception desk again, where Amara was updating some files on a computer. Without overthinking it, he stopped, "Excuse me, Amara?" She looked up, surprised. "Yes, Mr. Harrington." "Liam," he corrected again. "I wanted to thank you for taking such good care of my grandfather. I'm just doing my job," she said, but then softened. "But you're welcome. Your grandfather is a wonderful man." "Yes, he is," Liam agreed. "Tell me about this community garden." He seemed very impressed. Amara's expression transformed as she spoke about the project, her passion evident. "We converted an empty lot in my neighborhood. It's not much yet, but we've got tomatoes, peppers, and herbs growing. The plan is to provide fresh produce to families who can't afford it." "That's admirable," Liam said. "Do you need funding?" Her smile faded slightly. "We're doing fine, thanks. It's a community effort. Money helps, but hands in the dirt matter more." Liam wasn't used to having his offers of financial assistance rebuffed. It was typically the first thing people wanted from him. "Well, if you change your mind, I'll be sure to let you know," she finished politely, effectively ending the conversation by turning back to her computer, dismissed by a care assistant. Liam found himself both irritated and intrigued as he walked to his car. That evening, instead of returning to the office as planned, Liam went home to his penthouse apartment. The space was immaculately designed, all clean lines and modern art, but devoid of personal touches. He poured himself a scotch and walked to the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city lights. His mind kept returning to the care home, to his grandfather's happiness at seeing him, to Amara Johnson's genuine smile when she spoke about her garden, and how that smile had dimmed when she looked at him. On impulse, he opened his laptop and searched for community gardens in the city. There were several, but after cross-referencing, with information about food banks, he found what was likely Amara's project in a working-class neighborhood across town. The website was simple but effective, with pictures of volunteers working in raised garden beds and children learning about composting. There she was in one photo, laughing as she helped a young boy plant seedlings. Her curly hair escaped from its ponytail, dirt smudged on her cheek. She looked real, authentic in a way the people in Liam's world rarely were. His phone rang, breaking his concentration. It was Victoria Chambers again. "Liam, some of us are having drinks at Skyline. Join us? We're celebrating the Anderson merger." He almost declined automatically, but then thought of the evening ahead, him alone in his pristine, empty apartment with only his thoughts for company. "I'll be there in 30 minutes, he said. Skyline was an exclusive rooftop bar frequented by the city's elite. Victoria had secured a prime table with a view of the harbor, surrounded by the usual crowd of executives and socialites. She greeted Liam with a kiss that lingered near the corner of his mouth. "We weren't sure you'd come," she said, her hand on his arm again. "You've been so unavailable lately." "I had some personal matters to attend to," Liam said, accepting a glass of champagne from a passing waiter. "Nothing serious, I hope," Victoria said, but her eyes suggested she wasn't particularly concerned. "My grandfather," Liam found himself saying. "I visited him today." "How sweet," she replied, her tone making it clear she found it anything but interesting. Now, about the next acquisition target. The evening proceeded predictably. Business. Talk, subtle flirtations, everyone trying to position themselves advantageously. Liam played his part, discussing strategies and accepting compliments on the latest merger, but he felt oddly disconnected from it all. At one point, he found himself at the bar ordering another drink when his CFO Robert joined. "Him. Chambers has her eye on you," Robert commented. "Smart move. Her family connections could be useful for the European expansion." Liam looked across the room at Victoria, who was watching him while pretending to listen to another conversation. "Is that how you see relationships, strategic business moves?" Robert laughed. "In our world, what else would they be? We're not exactly the type to find true love at the corner coffee shop." The comment stayed with Liam as he made his excuses and left earlier than expected. In his car, instead of heading home, he found himself driving toward the address he'd seen on the community garden website. It was nearly 10 p.m. when he parked near the fenced lot. The garden was dark and locked up, of course. What had he expected? That Amara would be there, working late by moonlight? That he'd have some romantic Movie moment where he could offer to help and show her he wasn't just another rich jerk. Ridiculous, he muttered to himself, about to drive away when he noticed a small group of people leaving a building across the street. Even in the dim streetlight, he recognized Amara's silhouette. She was laughing with a middle-aged woman and a young man. They hugged before parting ways, Amara heading toward a modest sedan parked further down the block. Liam slumped in his seat, feeling foolish. This wasn't his world. He had no reason to be here, spying on his grandfather's care assistant, because she treated him with something other than fawning admiration or calculated interest. The next morning, Liam arrived at his office earlier than usual, determined to focus on work and forget about his strange preoccupation with Amara Johnson. But by midday, he found himself calling Sunset Grove. "I'd like to visit my grandfather again tomorrow," he told the receptionist, "and I was wondering, what time does Amara Johnson usually work?" "Miss Johnson works mornings until 3 p.m. most days," the woman replied. "I'm sure Mr. Henry will be thrilled to see you again so soon." Liam hung up, annoyed with himself for asking, yet already rearranging his schedule for the next day. That night, he dreamed of fishing with his grandfather. The sun warm on their faces, the lake stretching endlessly before them. But when he turned to look at the shore, it wasn't empty as it had been in reality. Amara was there, waving to them, a picnic laid out on a blanket, waiting for them to return. He woke up unsettled, wondering what was happening to him. One brief meeting with a woman who clearly wasn't impressed by him, and suddenly he was dreaming about her. It made no sense. Unless what had drawn him wasn't her looks or status, but precisely the fact that she hadn't seemed to care about his. "I'm losing my mind," Liam muttered, getting ready for another day of business deals and boardroom politics. But even as he said it, he found himself looking forward to tomorrow's visit, more than he had anticipated anything in a very long time. Liam arrived at Sunset Grove the next day just after lunch. He'd brought his fishing rod, as promised to his grandfather, though he felt slightly ridiculous carrying it through the care home's elegant lobby. The same receptionist from yesterday smiled at him. "2 visits in 2 days, Mr. Harrington. Your grandfather will be thrilled. Is my grandfather in the garden again today?" The receptionist's smile turned knowing. "Miss Johnson is helping with an art class right now. Your grandfather should be there too." Liam followed her directions to a bright room with large windows overlooking the garden. About a dozen residents sat at tables with various art supplies spread before them. His grandfather was near the window, concentrating intensely on a watercolor painting. And there was Amara moving between tables, offering encouragement and assistance. She wore the same practical scrubs as yesterday, her hair again pulled back, yet somehow she stood out in the room like a beam of sunlight. "Try adding a bit more water," she was saying to an elderly woman. "That's it, see how the colors blend now. It's beautiful, Mrs. Chen." She looked up and saw Liam standing in the doorway. Surprise flickered across her face before she smiled politely and approached him. "Back so soon, Mr. Harrington?" she asked. "Your grandfather will be happy to see you." "I promised him we'd go fishing," Liam said, awkwardly holding up his rod. "And please, call me Liam." She nodded but didn't repeat his name this time. "The art class ends in about 15 minutes. Would you like to join while you wait? We have an empty seat." The idea of sitting down to paint alongside elderly residents was so far outside Liam's comfort zone that his first instinct was to refuse. But his grandfather had spotted him and was waving enthusiastically. "I haven't painted since elementary school," Liam admitted as Amara led him to the table. "No time like the present to start again," she said with an encouraging smile that seemed more genuine than yesterday's. "We are painting memories today, places that mean something special." Liam sat beside his grandfather, who was recreating a cabin by a lake in broad, slightly wobbly brushstrokes. "Lake Whitney," Henry explained proudly. "Remember that cabin we used to rent every summer?" "I remember," Liam said softly, looking at the simple painting that somehow captured the essence of those golden childhood days. Amara placed a blank paper and watercolors in front of him. "Your turn." Under the curious gazes of his grandfather and several residents, Liam picked up a brush. He felt strangely vulnerable, sitting here in his expensive suit while trying to remember how to make a basic landscape. "I'm not very artistic," he muttered. "It's not about making a masterpiece," Amara said, her voice gentle. "It's about connecting with your memories." With hesitant strokes, Liam began to paint the dock where he and his grandfather had spent countless hours fishing. His technique was clumsy, the proportions all wrong, but as the image took shape, so did the memories. The smell of the lake, the sound of his grandfather's laughter, the feeling of simple happiness. When the class ended, Amara collected the paintings to let them dry. "We'll frame them next week," she told the residents. "They're all wonderful." Henry stood carefully, accepting his walker. "Ready for some fishing, my boy?" "Absolutely," Liam said, surprised to realize he was actually looking forward to it. As they prepared to leave the art room, Liam found himself turning to Amara. "Would you like to join us? If you're not too busy, that is." The invitation surprised even himself. Amara looked equally surprised. "That's thoughtful, but I have other residents to attend to," she said. "Maybe another time." Henry chuckled as they walked slowly toward the pond. "You're barking up the wrong tree there, Liam. What are you talking about? I may be old, but I'm not blind. You're interested in Amara." Liam felt an unfamiliar heat rise to his face. "I was just being polite. In the 36 years I've known you, just being polite has never involved inviting someone to join your personal time." At the pond, they found a bench in the shade. Liam helped his grandfather sit comfortably before baiting their hooks and casting the lines into the water. "She's not like the women you usually surround yourself with," Henry continued, clearly enjoying his grandson's discomfort. "I hardly know her," Liam protested. "Exactly my point. The ones you date, do you ever really know them? Or do they just fit a certain mold? Beautiful, sophisticated, connected to the right people?" Liam didn't answer, watching his line bob in the water. His grandfather was right, of course. His relationships had always been superficial, more about social standing than genuine connection. "You know," Henry said after a comfortable silence, "your grandmother was a waitress when I met her." Liam looked up in surprise. "What? I thought—" "Grandma was from a banking family," Henry laughed. "That's the story your mother preferred. The truth is, I stopped at a diner after a business meeting went bad. Ruth served me coffee and apple pie and told me to stop looking like the world had ended. By the time I finished that pie, I knew she was special. Why haven't you ever told me this? Your parents had certain ideas about our family's image. After they died, it didn't seem important to correct the story." Henry's eyes grew distant with memory. "Ruth never cared about the business or the money. She cared about people, like Amara does." They fished in silence for a while, neither catching anything but both enjoying the peaceful moment. Eventually, Henry's energy began to wane, and Liam helped him back to his room. "Will you come again tomorrow?" Henry asked hopefully. "I have meetings in the morning, but I'll come in the afternoon," Liam promised. As he was leaving, he passed the garden where Amara was helping an elderly man with a walking exercise. "Leaving already?" she asked when she saw him. "Grandpa got tired, but we had a good time at the pond." "Did you catch anything?" "Just memories," Liam said, surprising himself with the sentiment. Amara smiled, a real smile that reached her eyes. "Those are the best kind. I wanted to ask you," Liam began, but was interrupted by his phone buzzing. "Victoria Chambers." He silenced it. "Sorry about that." "Important business?" Amara asked, her expression closing slightly. "Nothing that can't wait." Liam put the phone away. "I noticed your community garden project could use some proper irrigation. I'd like to help." Her eyebrows rose. "Did you research me, Mr. Harrington?" The use of his formal name again wasn't lost on him. "I was curious about the project my grandfather mentioned, and you immediately thought of throwing money at it," she said, not unkindly but with a directness that few people ever used with him. "Not just money," Liam said. "I'd like to help, personally." Now she looked genuinely surprised. "You want to work in a community garden? Is that so hard to believe? Honestly?" "Yes." She gestured at his perfectly tailored suit. "You don't strike me as someone who enjoys getting his hands dirty." "Maybe there's more to me than you think," Liam said, holding her gaze. A flicker of something, interest perhaps, crossed her face before she shook her head. "The garden workday is Saturday morning, 8 to noon. If you're serious, you can come, but leave your checkbook at home. Before he could respond, she was called away by another staff member. Liam watched her go, already mentally rearranging his Saturday schedule. The rest of the week passed in a blur of meetings and contracts. Liam visited his grandfather daily, always timing his visits during Amara's shifts. Each day he learned a little more about her, that she lived with her younger sister, that she sang in a community choir, that she had a weakness for chocolate, chip cookies that the care home's kitchen staff made special for her. Henry watched these interactions with amused interest, often finding excuses to leave them alone together. "Amara, would you mind showing Liam the new library books while I rest my eyes for a minute?" On Friday afternoon, Liam arrived to find his grandfather in bed with a slight fever. "Nothing serious," the nurse assured him. "Just a touch of a cold. We're monitoring him closely." Liam sat with Henry, who drifted in and out of sleep. After an hour, Amara appeared at the door with a tray. "I brought his favorite tea," she said softly. "How is he doing?" "The same. They say not to worry, but it's normal to worry about people we love," Amara said, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder. The simple touch of comfort was so unexpected that Liam found himself at a loss for words. "Thank you for being here for him," she continued. "It means more than you know." "I should have been here more all along," Liam admitted. "I've been so focused on running the company." "You're here now," Amara said. "That's what matters." As she turned to leave, Liam spoke up. "I'll see you tomorrow, at the garden." She paused at the door. 8 a.m. sharp. "Wear clothes you don't mind getting dirty." For the first time, she gave him a teasing smile. "If such things exist in your wardrobe." Saturday morning found Liam standing awkwardly at the entrance to the community garden, wearing the most casual clothes he owned. Dark jeans that still looked expensive, and a simple button-down shirt with the sleeves rolled up. He'd even stopped for coffee on the way, picking up an extra cup with the vague hope of earning brownie points. The garden was already bustling with activity. Children ran between raised beds, adults were turning soil and planting seedlings, and a group of teenagers was constructing what looked like a new compost bin. Liam didn't see Amara at first and wondered if she'd worked the night shift and wouldn't be coming. Then he heard her laugh, that same warm, genuine sound that had first caught his attention at Sunset Grove. She emerged from a small shed carrying trays of seedlings, wearing faded jeans with holes at the knees, a loose t-shirt, and a bandana. Holding back her curls, she spotted him and did a double take, clearly surprised he had actually shown up. Making her way over, she balanced the trays against her hip. "You came," she said, sounding impressed despite herself. "I said I would." He held out the coffee. "I brought this for you." "Thanks." She shifted the trays to accept the cup. "How's your grandfather today?" "Better. His fever broke overnight." Liam took one of the trays from her. "Where do these go?" Amara led him to an empty, raised bed. "These are tomato seedlings. They need to be planted about 12 inches apart." She demonstrated the technique, digging a small hole, gently placing the seedling inside, covering the roots with soil and watering it carefully. Liam watched attentively before trying himself. His first attempt was clumsy, the plant listing to one side. "Not bad for a first try," Amara said encouragingly. "Maybe focus less on keeping your genes clean and more on supporting the plant's roots." "These genes are already a lost cause," Liam said, noticing the dirt smudges on his knees. Strangely, he didn't mind. They worked side by side, planting all the tomato seedlings. Liam's technique improved with each one, and he found himself enjoying the simple, purposeful work. Around them, the garden buzzed with community energy, people of all ages working together, sharing tools and advice, laughing and chatting. "How did all this get started?" Liam asked as they moved on to pepper plants. 3 years ago, this was just an empty lot collecting trash," Amara explained. "My sister Maya and I grew up 2 blocks from here, and we always talked about how the neighborhood needed more green space. When the city offered community garden grants, we applied. You built all this in 3 years." "With a lot of help," she said, gesturing around. "Everyone here volunteers their time. The food we grow goes to local families and the food bank. Last year, we produced almost 2,000 pounds of fresh vegetables." That's impressive, Liam said sincerely. It's not running a billion-dollar corporation, Amara said with a shrug, but it feeds people. Liam looked around at the thriving garden. This might be more important than what I do. Amara studied him curiously. You really mean that, don't you? Before he could respond, they were interrupted by a teenage girl. Amara, we need help with the irrigation system. It's leaking again. I'll be right there, Amara said, then turned back to Liam. Duty calls? Can you finish these peppers? I think I can handle it, he said with more confidence than he felt. For the next 2 hours, Liam worked steadily, planting peppers, then helping a group of children with a strawberry patch. His shirt was dirty, his hands were caked with soil, and he had a sunburn developing on the back of his neck, but he felt more satisfied than he had after closing billion-dollar deals. When lunch break was called, everyone gathered around a long table set up under a tree. People had brought dishes to share, homemade salads, sandwiches, cookies, and pitchers of lemonade. Liam felt awkward, having brought nothing, but Amara handed him a plate. First-timers get a free pass, she said. Next time, bring something to share. Next time. The casual implication that he would return warmed him in a way he hadn't expected. Is that Liam Harrington? A woman about Amara's age approached them, eyes wide with recognition. Maya, this is Liam, Amara said. Liam, my sister Maya. Your sister who runs the social media for the garden? Liam asked, remembering the website. That's me, Maya confirmed, still looking at him with open curiosity. So you're Henry's grandson. Amara's told me about you. All good things, I hope, Liam said, glancing at Amara, who suddenly seemed very interested in her sandwich. Interesting? Things, Maya corrected with a mischievous smile. Like how you show up at Sunset Grove every day now, always during my sister's shift. Maya, Amara warned. What? I'm just making conversation. Maya turned back to Liam. So, billionaire CEO, by-week community gardener by weekend? That's quite the contrast. I'm just helping out, Liam said modestly. Well, we appreciate it, Maya said. I've got to help with the compost demonstration, but we should talk more later. I have so many questions. As Maya walked away, Amara groaned. I apologize for my sister. She has no filter. I like her, Liam said. She reminds me of you. Ha! Maya is the outgoing one. I'm the reserved sister. You? Reserved? Liam chuckled. You called me out the first day we met? Amara looked embarrassed. About that, I might have judged you too quickly. Based on? The suit, the car, the way you barely looked at the other residents when you visited. Liam couldn't deny any of that. Fair points. I haven't exactly been grandson of the year, but you've been here every day this week, Amara acknowledged. That counts for something. After lunch, the work continued. Liam helped build a trellis for climbing beans, taking direction from a retired carpenter who seemed unimpressed by Liam's status but appreciative of his willingness to learn. By the end of the day, Liam was exhausted but strangely energized. As people began to pack up, he helped Amara store tools in the shed. Will your grandfather be expecting you today? She asked. I told him I'd come by this evening, Liam said. But I have time if you need more help here. Amara hesitated. Actually, I was heading to visit him too. I sometimes stop by on my days off to bring him books. We could go together if you want. The idea of spending more time with Amara, even at Sunset Grove, was appealing. I'd like that. Great. Let me just clean up a bit first. I can't show up looking like this. While Amara went to wash up, Maya cornered Liam by the garden gate. So, what are your intentions with my sister? She asked without preamble. Excuse me? You've been visiting your grandfather every day during Amara's shifts for a week, and now you show up here on a Saturday when you could be on a yacht or whatever billionaires do on weekends. I wanted to help with the garden, Liam said, trying to sound casual. Maya gave him a skeptical look. Right, and it has nothing to do with the fact that you're interested in Amara. Is it that obvious? Only to everyone with eyes, Maya said with a laugh. Look, Amara is the best person I know. She works too hard, cares too much, and never puts herself first. If you're just looking for a challenge because she didn't swoon at your fancy car. It's not like that, Liam interrupted, surprised by his own sincerity. She's different. Different how? Liam thought about it. She sees people, really sees them. Not their status or what they can offer her, but who they are. She saw my grandfather as a person with stories and value, not just another elderly patient. And she looked at me like I was just another visitor, not Liam Harrington, CEO. Maya's expression softened. That's Amara. But be careful with her heart, okay? She doesn't let many people in. Before Liam could respond, Amara returned, her face freshly washed and her curls tamed somewhat. Ready to go? She asked. The drive to Sunset Grove was comfortable, with Amara sharing stories about the garden's early days and the challenges they'd overcome. When they arrived, they found Henry in the common room, playing chess with another resident. Liam, and Amara too. Henry's face lit up. What a wonderful surprise. We brought you something, Amara said, producing a paper bag. Inside was a still warm loaf of zucchini bread. Made with the first zucchini from the garden, Henry took the bread with genuine delight. You two are spoiling an old man. As they sat together, Henry beaming at both of them, Liam found himself watching Amara. The way she listened attentively to his grandfather's stories, her gentle laugh, the kindness in her eyes, all of it drew him in more powerfully than any attraction he'd ever felt before. And for the first time in years, Liam Harrington, who could buy almost anything in the world, found himself wanting something that money couldn't purchase: Amara Johnson's heart. What he didn't know was that earning it would require more from him than he'd ever given anyone, and might cost him everything he thought he valued. Over the next few weeks, Liam established a new routine. Mornings were still dedicated to Harrington Enterprises, but his afternoons often found him at Sunset Grove with his grandfather. Saturdays were spent at the community garden, where he had become a regular volunteer. And through it all, Amara was the center of gravity that kept pulling him back. You missed the board meeting yesterday, Victoria commented one morning, leaning against the doorframe of his office. Robert had to cover for you. I had a family. Commitment, Liam said, not looking up from his computer. With your grandfather again. Victoria entered the office uninvited, perching on the edge of his desk. You've been spending a lot of time at that care home lately. Liam finally looked up. Is there a problem with that? Not at all. It's just unexpected. She studied him with calculating eyes. You've changed, Liam. People do that sometimes. It's more than that. You used to be focused, driven. Now you're delegating key meetings, leaving early. She leaned closer. Some of the board members are talking. Let them talk, Liam said, though a flicker of concern crossed his mind. The company is doing fine. For now. But success requires constant attention. She placed her hand on his, her voice softening. I'm just looking out for you, Liam. We've known each other a long time. I appreciate the concern, Liam said, gently removing his hand, but my personal life is my own business. Victoria's smile tightened. Of course, just remember who your real friends are. As she left, she added, Oh, and don't forget the charity gala next weekend. As major donors, the company expects both of us to be there. The charity gala. Liam had completely forgotten about it. It was an annual event that Harrington Enterprises sponsored, raising money for children's education. In previous years, Liam had viewed it as a necessary publicity opportunity. This year, he found himself wondering if the money actually reached the children it was meant to help. That afternoon, Liam arrived at Sunset Grove to find Amara helping his grandfather into a wheelchair. What's happening? Liam asked, concerned. Nothing to worry about, Henry assured him. Just going for some x-rays. Doctor wants to check my hip after that fall last week. Liam frowned. What fall? Why wasn't I informed? It was very minor, Amara explained. Mr. Henry slipped in the bathroom but caught himself on the handrail. He wasn't hurt, but Dr. Peterson likes to be thorough. I didn't want to worry you, Henry added. You're busy enough. The words stung Liam. Had he been so absent from his grandfather's life that Henry felt he couldn't reach out even for something as serious as a fall? I'm never too busy for you, Liam said firmly. I want to know about these things, no matter how small they seem. Henry patted his hand. I know. Son, now would you like to come with us to radiology? It's a thrill a minute down there. Despite his attempt at humor, Liam could see his grandfather was in some discomfort. He walked alongside the wheelchair as Amara pushed it gently through the corridors. How are you feeling, really? Liam asked Henry when Amara stepped away to speak with a nurse. Old, Henry admitted with a sigh. The body betrays you piece by piece, but having you visit so often, that's been the best medicine. Liam squeezed his shoulder. I should have been here more all along. Better late than never, Henry said. And if it took Amara to bring you around more often, well, I'm not complaining. Liam felt his face warm. Is it that obvious? To me, yes. To her? Henry chuckled. She's too humble to believe someone like you would be interested in someone like her. Someone like me? Liam echoed, frowning. Rich, powerful, surrounded by beautiful socialites. Henry shrugged. You have to admit, you two come from different worlds. Before Liam could respond, Amara returned. They're ready for you, Mr. Henry. It should only take about 30 minutes. I'll be here waiting, Liam promised. As the radiology technician wheeled Henry away, Liam and Amara were left alone in the waiting area. So, Liam began, my company sponsors an annual charity gala next weekend. It raises money for children's education programs. That sounds worthwhile, Amara said. I was wondering if you'd like to attend with me. Amara looked startled. A gala? I don't exactly have gala-appropriate clothes in my closet. That's not a problem. I could... Buy me something? She finished, her expression cooling. No, thank you. Liam realized his mistake immediately. That's not what I meant. I just... Liam, Amara interrupted gently. What are we doing here? What do you mean? This. She gestured between them. You visiting every day, volunteering at the garden, now inviting me to fancy events. Where is this going? The direct question caught him off guard. In his world, people rarely spoke so plainly about intentions. I enjoy spending time with you, he said carefully. And I enjoy your company too, Amara admitted, but we come from completely different worlds. You run a multinational corporation. I work at a care home and volunteer at a community garden. Why does that matter? Because it does, she said simply. Your world is full of people like that woman. Who called you twice during our last lunch together? Who was she? Victoria, she's just a board member who calls you on weekends and whose name makes you frown when it appears on your phone. Liam hadn't realized Amara had. Notice that? It's complicated, and that's my point, Amara said. Your life is complicated in ways mine isn't. You move in circles I've never even seen. That doesn't mean we can't... What? Date? And then what? You'd get tired of slumming it with the care assistant. Or worse, you'd try to change me to fit into your world. I would never do that, Liam protested. Amara's expression softened. Maybe not intentionally, but it's hard to bridge worlds that different. Before Liam could argue further, the doors opened and Henry was wheeled back out. All done, Henry announced, and I only complained a little bit. He was a model patient, the technician confirmed with a smile. The conversation with Amara remained unfinished as they returned Henry to his room. Liam stayed for dinner, the three of them eating together in Henry's room, talking about everything except the question that hung between Liam and Amara. When it was time to leave, Liam walked Amara to her car. About the gala, he said. Forget. I mentioned it, but I'd still like to see you outside of Sunset Grove and the garden sometime. Just dinner, maybe. Nothing fancy. Amara hesitated, then smiled slightly. I get off at 3 on Thursday. There's a little cafe near the garden that makes great sandwiches. Thursday at 3, Liam confirmed, trying not to sound too eager. I'll be there. That night, Liam found himself unable to sleep, Amara's words playing in his mind. Did she really think he was just slumming it? That he'd try to change her? The thought bothered him deeply. The next morning, Robert, his CFO, was waiting in his office with a concerned expression. We need to talk about the European expansion, Robert said without preamble. The board is getting nervous about your level of engagement. I've reviewed all the proposals, Liam said defensively. Reviewing isn't leading, Robert countered. Victoria brought some concerns to me yesterday. Of course she did, Liam thought. What concerns exactly? That you're distracted, That your priorities have shifted. Robert hesitated. There's talk about whether you're still the right person to lead this company. Liam felt a flash of anger. I built this company into what it is today. Your grandfather built it, Robert corrected. You expanded it. And now some are wondering if you're still hungry enough to keep it growing. The implied threat wasn't subtle. The board could move to replace him if they lost confidence in his leadership. I have a personal life now, Liam said. That doesn't mean I'm any less committed to Harrington Enterprises. Then prove it, Robert said. The European expansion needs your full attention, and so does the charity gala. Victoria mentioned you haven't even confirmed your attendance yet. I'll be there, Liam assured him. Now, if that's all. After Robert left, Liam sat back in his chair, a heaviness settling in his chest. For the first time in his career, his position felt threatened, and for the first time, he wasn't sure if he cared as much as he should. Thursday afternoon came. Quickly, Liam left the office early, changing from his suit into more casual clothes, jeans and a simple button-down shirt, before heading to the cafe near the garden. He spotted Amara already seated at an outdoor table, wearing a sundress. That was a departure from her usual scrubs or gardening clothes. Her curly hair was loose around her shoulders, and she was reading a book, so absorbed that she didn't notice him approaching. Is this seat taken? Liam asked. Amara looked up, a warm smile spreading across her face. I was saving it for a billionaire. Saito, but I suppose you'll do. Liam laughed, feeling lighter than he had all week as he sat across from her. What are you reading? She showed him the cover, a novel about a community coming together to save a local landmark. Maya says I have predictable taste in books, always about people making a difference in their communities. There are worse themes to enjoy, Liam said. They ordered sandwiches and iced tea, the conversation flowing easily as Amara told him about her day at Sunset Grove and the new resident who had moved in. Mr. Collins is a retired music teacher, she explained. He brought his violin and played for everyone in the common room today. Your grandfather loved it. How is he doing? Liam asked. After the x-rays, I mean. The results came back clear, but Dr. Peterson wants him to use a walker for a while just to be safe. Amara tilted her head. You seem stressed today. Everything okay? Liam hesitated, then decided on honesty. The board is questioning my commitment to the company. Apparently, having a personal life makes me less dedicated in their eyes. That seems unfair, Amara said. Everyone deserves a life outside of work. Not everyone has billions of dollars resting on their decisions, Liam said, then immediately regretted how it sounded. I'm sorry, that came out wrong. To his surprise, Amara laughed. No, you're right. I can't pretend to understand the pressure you're under. If I make a mistake at work, a resident might get the wrong pudding flavor. If you make a mistake, people lose jobs, stock prices fall, the economy suffers, Liam finished grimly. At least that's what the board would have me believe. Is that why you've been so driven all these years? Because you feel that responsibility? No one had ever asked him that before. Partly, Liam admitted, and partly because I didn't have anything else. After my parents died, the company became everything. My identity, my purpose. And now I'm not so sure anymore. Liam met her eyes. Meeting you, spending time with my grandfather, volunteering at the garden, it's shown me there's more to life than quarterly reports and stock options. Amara's expression softened. That's not a bad realization to have. Try telling that to Victoria and the board. Ah, Victoria. Amara's smile turned knowing. Just a board member who calls on weekends. She's ambitious, Liam explained. And she's made it clear she sees a potential power couple in our future. And you don't? I used to think it made sense, Liam admitted. Two people with similar goals, similar backgrounds, complementary business connections. A merger more than a marriage, Amara observed. Exactly. Liam leaned forward. But now, I want something real. Something based on more than mutual advantage. There, eyes met, and for a moment neither spoke. The afternoon sun caught in Amara's curls, giving her an almost ethereal glow. Liam had dated supermodels and socialites, women who spent fortunes on their appearance. But none had ever taken his breath away like Amara did in that simple sundress, with no makeup and a few smudges of paint on her fingers from an art project. "With the residents, Amara!" a voice called, breaking the moment. They both turned to see Maya approaching their table. "I thought that was you." "Maya," Amara greeted her sister, looking slightly embarrassed. "What are you doing here?" "Meeting Javier to discuss the garden's summer festival." Maya looked between them with a barely concealed smile. "But I see you're busy. Don't let me interrupt your coffee date." "It's just lunch," Amara said quickly. "Mm-hmm." Maya's knowing look made Liam bite back a smile. "Well, don't let me interrupt. Nice to see you again, Liam." As Maya walked away, Amara groaned. "Sorry about that." Maya has always had perfect timing for maximum embarrassment. "I like your sister," Liam said. "She cares about you." "Too much sometimes." Amara checked her watch. "I should get going soon. I promised to help with the garden's budget this evening." "Budget? Problems?" Liam asked automatically. "Nothing major. We're just trying to figure out how to fund the irrigation system upgrade before summer really hits." She shook her head when she saw his expression. "And no, that wasn't a hint for a donation." "What? If it's not a donation? What if it's just me helping with the budget? I'm good with numbers." Amara considered this. "I suppose an extra pair of eyes wouldn't hurt, but no blank checks, Liam. The garden succeeds because the community invests not just money, but time and effort." "I understand," Liam said, and he meant it. "I'll bring my calculator, not my checkbook." That evening, Liam found himself in the garden's tiny office, really just a corner of the storage shed fitted with a desk and filing cabinet. Amara, Maya, and Javier, the garden's coordinator, spread out printouts of expenses and income. "Our main issue is the irrigation," Javier explained. "The current system wastes water and isn't reaching all the beds evenly. We've got a quote for a more efficient drip system, but it's about $2,000 over our current budget." Liam reviewed the figures, impressed by how much they accomplished with so little. "What about applying for a matching grant? If the community raises half, a foundation might match it." "We've looked into those," Maya said. "The application process takes months, and we need the system before the summer heat kicks in." "What about a community fundraiser?" Liam suggested. "Something that brings in quick cash but also builds community involvement." "Like what?" Amara asked, curious. Ideas began flowing as they brainstormed together. By the end of the evening, they had a plan for a garden-to-table dinner event. Local restaurants would donate food prepared with garden produce, community members would pay for tickets, and they'd hold an auction for garden-themed gift baskets. "This could work," Javier said excitedly. "And Liam, if you're willing to help, organize the business side, approaching restaurants, handling the finances, that would be a huge help." "I'd be happy to," Liam said, surprised at how energized he felt by the project. After the meeting, Liam walked Amara to her car. "Thank you for letting me help," he said. "You had good ideas," Amara admitted. "And you didn't once try to just write a check, which I appreciate." "I'm learning," Liam said with a smile. "Slow but steady progress." Under the soft glow of a streetlight, Amara looked up at him, her expression thoughtful. "You know, when we first met, I thought you were just another rich guy who visited his grandfather out of obligation. I judged you without knowing you, and I'm sorry for that." "And what do you think now?" Liam asked softly. "Now I think there's a lot more to Liam Harrington than the CEO everyone sees." She hesitated, then rose on her tiptoes and kissed his cheek. "Good night, Liam." As she drove away, Liam touched the spot where her lips had been, feeling like a teenager after a first date. He was smiling all the way home. The next few days were a whirlwind of activity. By day, Liam managed Harrington Enterprises, paying special attention to the European expansion to appease the board. Evenings were split between visiting his grandfather and helping organize the garden fundraiser. He approached restaurant owners. He knew securing donations and support. The event was coming together quickly, scheduled for the weekend after the charity gala. On Friday afternoon, Liam was in his office reviewing contracts when his assistant announced an unexpected visitor, Amara. "Send her in," Liam said, surprised and pleased. Amara entered, looking slightly uncomfortable in the opulent surroundings of the Harrington Enterprises executive floor. "Sorry to drop in unannounced. I was downtown for a nursing program interview and thought—" She trailed off, taking in the panoramic views from his office windows. "Wow, quite the view." "It's good to see you," Liam said, genuinely happy for the interruption. "How did the interview go?" "I think well," she said, still distracted by the office. "This is not what I expected." "Too corporate?" Liam asked, seeing his everyday environment through her eyes, the sleek furniture, the modern art, the overall sense of wealth and power. "Just very different from my world," Amara said, echoing their earlier conversation. She noticed the photo on his desk, the old one of him fishing with his grandfather. "I like that you keep this here." "A reminder of what matters," Liam said. "So what brings you by?" "Actually, I wanted to talk to you about the gala." Amara took a deep breath. "I've been thinking about your invitation, and if it's still open, I'd like to go. With you." Liam couldn't hide his surprise. "Really? What changed your mind?" "Your grandfather, actually. He told me it's an important event for you, and that supporting children's education is something I believe in too." She smiled shyly. "And maybe I'm a little curious about your world." "I'd be honored if you came," Liam said, his heart beating faster. "But I thought you were worried about not fitting in." "Oh, I'm still worried," Amara admitted with a laugh. "I have no idea what to wear or how to act at something like that, but sometimes you have to step outside your comfort zone, right?" "Right," Liam agreed, thinking of his first day at the garden. "And don't worry about fitting in. You'll be with me." As they were talking, the door opened without a knock and Victoria walked in. She stopped short when she saw Amara. "I'm sorry," she said, not sounding sorry at all. "I didn't realize you had a visitor. Victoria, there's Amara Johnson," Liam introduced them. "Amara, Victoria Chambers, one of our board members." Victoria's eyes swept over Amara, taking in her simple dress and natural hair with a barely concealed look of assessment. "How nice. Are you a new client?" "No," Amara said. "I work at Sunset Grove Care Home. I take care of Liam's grandfather." "How noble," Victoria said with a thin smile. "Liam, when you're finished, we need to discuss the seating arrangements for the gala. The governor has confirmed his attendance." "Actually," Liam said, "you should add Amara to the head table. She'll be my guest for the evening." Victoria's smile froze. "Your guest? But we always attend these functions together. The press expects it." "Plans change," Liam said firmly. "Amara will be with me this year." After a tense moment, Victoria nodded stiffly. "As you wish, I'll make the adjustment." With a final cool look at Amara, she left, closing the door a bit harder than necessary. "That was awkward," Amara said when Victoria was gone. "She clearly wasn't expecting me." "Don't worry about Victoria," Liam said, though he knew there would be fallout to deal with later. "She seemed upset," Amara persisted. "Are you sure this is a good idea? I don't want to cause problems for you." "The only problem would be if you changed your mind," Liam assured her, taking her hand. "I want you there, Amara. The rest doesn't matter." She squeezed his hand, still looking uncertain. "If you're sure." "I am." And in that moment, Liam realized it was true. He wanted Amara by his side, not just at the gala, but in his life. The thought should have terrified him, he who had kept everyone at arm's length for years. But instead it felt right, natural. What he didn't know was that the evening ahead would test that certainty in ways he couldn't imagine, and force him to choose between the world he had built and the woman who was changing his heart. The night of the charity gala arrived with a flurry of activity. Liam had offered to send a car for Amara, but she had insisted on driving herself, saying she wanted the option to leave early if she felt too uncomfortable. Liam waited at the entrance to the Grand Plaza Hotel, checking his watch anxiously. The eye. Red carpet was lined with photographers capturing the arrival of the city's elite. He had already fielded several questions about why he was standing outside rather than mingling inside. "Just waiting for my date," he told them with a smile that revealed nothing. When Amara's modest sedan pulled up to the valet station, Liam felt his heart skip. She stepped out tentatively, looking both beautiful and nervous in a simple navy. blue gown that she later told him she had borrowed from a friend. Her curly hair was swept up elegantly, with a few tendrils framing her face. She wore minimal makeup, just enough to enhance her natural beauty. "You look stunning," Liam said, taking her hand. "I feel like an imposter," Amara admitted quietly. Everyone else arrived in limousines. "You're the most genuine person here," Liam assured her. "That's worth more than any limousine." As they walked the red carpet, cameras flashed. Liam could hear the whispers. "Who is she?" "That's not Victoria." "Chambers. Is that his new girlfriend?" Inside, the ballroom was transformed into a glittering wonderland. Crystal chandeliers cast a warm glow over tables, adorned with elaborate floral arrangements. A string quartet played softly in the corner. Waiters circulated with champagne and hors d'oeuvres. "This is extravagant," Amara murmured, taking it all in. "How much did all this cost?" "The event raises over $1 million for children's education," Liam said, hoping to impress her with the charitable goal rather than the opulence. "But how much of that million actually goes to the children after paying for all this?" Amara asked, her directness catching him off guard. It was a question Liam had never considered before. "I don't actually know," he admitted. "I should find out." They were approached by Robert, Liam's CFO, and his wife. "Liam, there you are." Robert's gaze shifted curiously to Amara. "And you must be the mysterious date we've been hearing about." "Amara Johnson," she introduced herself, extending her hand with composure that impressed Liam. "Nice to meet you." "Amara works at Sunset Grove," Liam explained. "She takes care of my grandfather." "How interesting," Robert's wife said with the same tone Victoria had used. "Is this your first gala, dear?" "Yes," Amara said simply. "It's quite an event." "Amara also runs a community garden that provides fresh produce to families in need," Liam added, feeling strangely defensive. "And she's starting nursing school." "Wonderful," Robert said, clearly trying to be polite. "Well, we should circulate. The governor was asking about you, Liam. You might want to stop by his table." As they walked away, Amara gave Liam a look. "You don't have to sell me to your friends, you know." "I'm not selling you. I'm proud of you," Liam said honestly. "And they're colleagues, not friends." "You don't have friends from work?" Amara asked, surprised. The question made Liam realize something he'd never fully acknowledged. Not real ones, I guess. In this world, everyone wants something from everyone else. "That's sad," Amara said, squeezing his hand. "Everyone needs real friends." As the evening progressed, Liam introduced Amara to countless business associates and donors. Some were genuinely friendly, but many gave her the same dismissive once-over that Victoria and Robert's wife had. Amara handled it all with grace, but Liam could feel her tension. They were seated at the head table as Liam had insisted. Victoria was there too, looking stunning in a red designer gown and deliberately seated far from Liam. She barely acknowledged Amara, focusing her attention on the banking executive beside her. During dinner, the director of the Education Foundation gave a presentation about the programs the gala supported. Photos of smiling children filled the large screens around the ballroom. "These are the faces of our future," the director said. "With your generous donations, we're able to provide after-school programs, summer camps, and college scholarships to deserving students from underprivileged backgrounds." Liam glanced at Amara, who was watching intently, her expression thoughtful. "What are you thinking?" he whispered. "I'm wondering if any of these kids come from my neighborhood," she said softly, "because I've never heard of these programs being available there." Again, her perspective made Liam question something he'd always taken for granted. He made a mental note to look into the foundation's actual reach in the city's poorest areas. After dinner came the auction. Luxury items, exotic vacations, jewelry, rare wines were sold to the highest bidders, all in the name of charity. Liam usually participated enthusiastically, but tonight, with Amara beside him, he felt strangely conflicted about the extravagance. "And now," the auctioneer announced, "our final item of the evening. A weekend getaway at the exclusive mountain lake resort, including private jet transportation courtesy of Harrington Enterprises." Bidding was fierce, with the package eventually selling for $50,000 to a real estate developer. The crowd applauded as the auctioneer declared the evening a tremendous success, raising over $1.2 million for the foundation. "Time for dancing," Liam said, as the string quartet was replaced by a small orchestra. "Would you honor me?" Amara hesitated. "I'm not much of a ballroom dancer." "Neither am I, honestly," Liam confessed. "I just go through the motions at these things, but I'd like to hold you for a while, if that's okay." Her smile returned. "When you put it that way." On the dance floor, Liam held Amara close, swaying gently to the music. It felt right having her in his arms, more right than anything had felt in years. "Thank you for coming tonight," he murmured into her hair. "I know this isn't your scene." "It's been educational," Amara said diplomatically. Liam laughed softly. "That bad, huh?" "Not bad, just different." She looked up at him. "Everyone is so focused on appearances. The right clothes, the right connections, saying the right things. It's exhausting." "I never noticed before," Liam admitted. "It's just always been my world. And now I see it through your eyes and it looks hollow." He pulled her closer. "You've changed how I see everything, Amara." Their eyes met, and for a moment the crowded ballroom faded away. Liam leaned down slowly, giving her time to pull away if she wanted. Instead, Amara rose on her tiptoes, meeting him halfway. Their lips touched in a soft, tender kiss that sent warmth spreading through Liam's entire body. When they parted, Amara's eyes were wide with emotion. "I wasn't expecting that," she whispered. "I've wanted to do that for weeks," Liam admitted. The moment was interrupted by a tap on Liam's shoulder. He turned to find Victoria standing there, her smile tight. "Sorry to interrupt, but the governor is leaving and wants to speak with you before he goes," she said. "It's important, Liam, about the downtown development project." Liam hesitated, looking at Amara. "Go ahead," Amara said. "I'll get some air on the terrace." Reluctantly, Liam left, her following Victoria across the ballroom. The conversation with the governor took longer than expected, extending into discussions with other business leaders who had been waiting to speak with Liam. By the time he extricated himself, nearly 30 minutes had passed. He hurried to the terrace, but Amara wasn't there. A quick search of the ballroom didn't reveal her either. With growing concern, Liam checked his phone and found a text message. "Had to leave. Not feeling well. Enjoyed meeting your friends. Thank you for including me. Amara." The formal tone worried him. He tried calling her, but the call went straight to voicemail. Frustrated, Liam headed for the exit, only to be stopped by Robert. "Leaving. So soon? There are still some investors who want to discuss the European expansion." "It'll have to wait," Liam said firmly. "I need to go." "Your date left, didn't she?" Victoria appeared beside Robert. "I saw her rushing out earlier. She looked upset." Something in Victoria's tone made Liam suspicious. "What did you say to her?" "Me? Nothing," Victoria said innocently. "We just had a little girl talk while you were busy. I was being friendly." "What kind of girl talk?" Liam demanded. Victoria sighed. "Look, I just told her the truth, that these charity events are important networking opportunities for the company, and that your family has certain expectations for who you'll eventually settle down with. I mentioned that you and I have history together, and that the board has always seen us as a natural match." She deserved to know what she was getting into. Fury rose in Liam's chest. "You had no right." "I was doing you a favor," Victoria insisted. "She doesn't belong in this world, Liam. She was wearing a borrowed dress, for God's sake. Everyone was talking about it." "I don't care what anyone was talking about," Liam snapped. "Amara is worth more than everyone in this room combined." He stormed out, leaving Victoria and Robert staring after him. In the parking lot, he realized he had no idea where Amara lived. He'd always met her at Sunset Grove or the garden. Cursing himself for this oversight, he drove to the garden, hoping she might have gone there to clear her head. The garden was locked and dark. Next, he tried Sunset Grove, but the night attendant told him Amara hadn't been there. In desperation, Liam called Maya. "It's nearly midnight," Maya answered groggily. "This better be important." "It's Liam. I need to find Amara. Something happened at the gala and she left without saying goodbye." Maya was immediately alert. "What did you do?" Nothing. At least, I don't think I did anything. We were dancing and we kissed, and then I had to speak with some people, and when I came back she was gone. You kissed her? Maya sounded surprised but pleased. Wait, then why would she leave? Victoria talked to her while I was gone. Victoria is complicated. She said some things about me and her and about Amara not belonging in my world. Maya groaned. Oh, perfect. Let me guess. This Victoria is beautiful, rich, and exactly the kind of woman everyone expects you to be. With? Something like that, Liam admitted. And did you and Victoria ever? No. Well, there was one kiss at a Christmas party years ago, but it meant nothing. Liam ran a hand through his hair in frustration. I just need to talk to Amara. Please, Maya. Maya sighed. She's probably at home. She lives in the apartment above mine, too. You have a pen? Liam scribbled down the address Maya gave him, thanked her and drove across town to a modest apartment building in Amara's neighborhood. It was well after midnight when he knocked on her door. For a long moment, there was no response. Then he heard soft footsteps and Amara's voice. Who is it? It's Liam. Please, Amara, I need to talk to you. The door opened a few inches, revealing Amara in pajamas, her hair loose around her shoulders. She'd been crying. It's very late, she said quietly. I know and I'm sorry, but I couldn't leave things like this. Can I come in? Just for a minute. After a hesitation, Amara opened the door wider. Her apartment was small but cozy, filled with books, plants, and colorful throw pillows. It felt warm and inviting, like Amara herself. Why did you leave? Liam asked without preamble. Amara sat on her small sofa, pulling her knees up to her chest. I didn't belong there, Liam. Your friend Victoria made that very clear. Victoria is not my friend, Liam said firmly. And whatever she told you, she didn't tell me anything I didn't already know, Amara interrupted. She just confirmed it. You and I come from different worlds. Everyone at that gala saw it. The way they looked at me like I was some curiosity you'd brought along. I don't care what they think, Liam insisted, but you should. That's your world, Liam. Those are the people you do business with, the social circles you move in. Amara looked up at him, her eyes sad. Victoria said the board expects you to marry someone like her someday, someone who can be an asset to the company. The board doesn't decide who I love, Liam said, the words slipping out before he could consider. To its implications, Amara's eyes widened. Love? Liam, we barely know each other. I know enough, Liam said, sitting beside her and taking her hand. I know that when I'm with you, I feel more alive than I have in years. I know that you see the real me, not just the CEO or the billionaire. And I know that kissing you tonight felt like coming home. Tears filled Amara's eyes. I feel the same way, she admitted softly. But feelings aren't always enough. What happens when the novelty wears off? When you realize that my world of care homes and community gardens can't compete with galas and boardrooms? What if I told you I don't want that world anymore? Liam asked. At least, not the way it is now. Tonight, watching you question things I've always taken for granted, like how much of that charity money actually reaches children in neighborhoods like yours. It made me realize how disconnected I've become. What are you saying? I'm saying I want to change things. Use Harrington. Enterprises to make a real difference, not just write checks for fancy galas. Liam squeezed her hand. And I want you beside me while I do it. Not because you fit into my world, but because together we can create something better. Amara looked skeptical. Your board would never allow that. Victoria made it clear they have plans for the company, and for you. Let me worry about the board, Liam said. Right now, I just need to know if you're willing to give us a chance, a real chance, despite our differences. For what felt like an eternity, Amara studied his face. Then, slowly, she nodded. I want to believe this can work. Liam pulled her into his arms, holding her tight. That's all I need to hear. The next morning, Liam arrived at Sunset Grove earlier than usual. He found his grandfather in the garden, practicing with his walker. You're getting good at that, Liam commented. Practice makes perfect, Henry said cheerfully. How was the gala? Did Amara enjoy herself? It was educational, Liam said, using Amara's word. Grandpa, I need your advice. For the next hour, Liam poured out everything. His feelings for Amara, the board's concerns about his leadership, Victoria's interference, and his growing desire to change the company's direction. I've been running Harrington Enterprises the way I thought it should be run, Liam concluded, focusing on growth and profit above all else. But what if there's a better way? Henry smiled, his eyes twinkling. I've been waiting years for you to ask that question. What do you mean? When I started the company, it wasn't just about making money, it was about making a difference in our community. Henry patted Liam's hand. Your grandmother always said a business should be measured by the good it does, not just the profit it makes. But the board serves at the pleasure of the majority shareholder, Henry interrupted, which is you, my boy. They've forgotten that. Liam stared at his grandfather, realization dawning. You're right. I don't need their approval. I just need to remember why the company exists in the first place. And as for Amara, Henry continued, she reminds me so much of your grandmother. Ruth never cared about status or wealth either. She just wanted to make the world better, one person at a time. I think I'm in love with her, Grandpa, Liam admitted. I know you are, Henry said with a satisfied smile. I knew it the first time. I saw you looking at her. You had the same look I had when I first met your grandmother. With renewed determination, Liam spent the next week preparing for a special board meeting he had called. He worked late into the nights, researching, planning, and making calls to key allies. Amara supported him throughout, offering perspective and ideas as he crafted his vision for the company's future. The morning of the board meeting, Liam stood before his mirror, adjusting his tie. He looked the same on the outside, successful, confident, in control, but inside everything had changed. You ready for this? Amara asked from the doorway of his bedroom. She had stayed overnight for the first time, and seeing her there in one of his shirts, hair tousled from sleep, made his heart swell. As ready as I'll ever be. Liam kissed her softly. Thank you for believing in me. The boardroom was tense when Liam arrived. All 12 members were present, including Victoria, who sat with a cool, confident expression. Robert looked nervous, darting glances between Victoria and Liam. Thank you all for coming, Liam began. I've called this special meeting to discuss the future direction of Harrington Enterprises. Before you begin, Victoria interrupted, the board has its own agenda item. She nodded to Robert, who reluctantly slid a document across the table to Liam. What's this? Liam asked, though he could guess. A vote of no confidence, Victoria said smoothly. The board feels your recent distractions have compromised your ability to lead this company effectively. We're proposing a temporary transition of power to the executive committee while we search for a new CEO. Liam looked around the table. Some board members couldn't meet his eyes, while others looked resolute. I see, Liam said calmly. Well, before we vote on that, I'd like to introduce a guest. He walked to the door and opened it. Please welcome Henry Harrington, founder of this company. Henry entered slowly, using his walker but standing as tall as his 82 years would allow. The board members murmured in surprise. Henry, it's been too long, one of the older members said, rising to offer his hand. We didn't expect you today. I wouldn't miss it, Henry said. My grandson has some important things to say and I wanted to be here to support him. Liam returned to the head of the table. As I was saying, we're here to discuss the future of Harrington Enterprises, but not the way you might think. For the next hour, Liam presented his vision, a restructuring that would maintain profitability while significantly increasing the company's investment in sustainable practices and community development. He proposed creating a new division focused specifically on affordable housing and education initiatives in underserved communities. This isn't charity, Liam emphasized. It's smart business for the long term. Studies show that companies with strong social responsibility outperform their peers over time. As he spoke, he could see the division in the room. Some board members were intrigued, while others, led by Victoria, remained skeptical. This is a radical departure from our core mission, Victoria objected when he finished. And it comes suspiciously, soon after you started dating someone from a very different background. The board has to wonder if your judgment is being influenced by personal factors. My judgment is being influenced by values, Liam corrected her. values that this company was founded on but has strayed from. Exactly right, Henry spoke up. When I built Harrington Enterprises, it wasn't just to make money, it was to make a difference. Somewhere along the way, that purpose got lost. Victoria wasn't backing down. With all due respect, Henry, the business world has changed since your day. Sentiment doesn't drive shareholder value. Actually, it does, Liam countered, displaying a series of charts. Companies with strong ESG programs consistently outperform the market. But more importantly, it's the right thing to do. Victoria shook her head. This is exactly why we've prepared the no confidence vote. Your priorities have clearly shifted away from what's best for this company. I think it's time to vote, Liam said calmly. Not on your motion, but on mine. As the majority shareholder, I'm exercising my right to reshape the board to align with the company's new direction. The room fell silent. Victoria's confident expression faltered. You can't do that, she said. The bylaws protect the board's independence. Actually, he can, Henry spoke up. I wrote those bylaws myself. The majority shareholder has always had the final say. That's how I wanted it, to ensure the company never lost sight of its values. One by one, Liam asked each board member if they supported his vision for the company's future. Some said yes immediately, seeing the wisdom in his approach. Others hesitated, but ultimately agreed, not wanting to oppose the majority shareholder. Victoria and two of her closest allies refused. Then I thank you for your service, Liam said to the three dissenters. But it's time for Harrington Enterprises to move in a new direction with leadership that shares our values. After the meeting, Henry squeezed Liam's shoulder. Your grandmother would be proud, he said, his eyes misty. And so am I. 2 months later, the Garden's Summer Festival was in full swing. What had started as a small fundraiser for the irrigation system had grown into a community celebration, with food stalls, music, and activities for children. Local businesses had donated goods and services for an auction, and the mayor had even made an appearance. Liam stood by the newly installed irrigation system, watching children run through the sprinklers that had been set up as a special treat on the hot summer day. Amara approached, carrying 2 glasses of homemade lemonade. I just checked on your grandfather, she said, handing him a glass. He's holding court by the tomato plants, telling everyone about how he used to grow prize-winning tomatoes in his younger days. Is he getting tired? I can take him home if he needs to rest. Are you kidding? He's having the time of his life. Maya's got him judging the pie contest next. Liam laughed, putting his arm around her waist. I've been thinking, he said casually. That empty lot next to the garden, the one that's been for sale forever. I bought it yesterday. Amara turned to him in surprise. You did what? Why? For the garden expansion we've been talking about, the educational area, the greenhouse, the community kitchen. It's all possible now. Tears filled Amara's eyes. Liam, I don't know what to say. Say you'll help design it, all of it. Make it exactly what the community needs. He took her hands in his. And say you'll marry me. Amara's eyes widened. What? Liam knelt down right there in the garden, not caring about the dirt staining his jeans. From his pocket he pulled out a simple ring with a small but perfect diamond. Amara Johnson, you've taught me what really matters in life. You've shown me that the richest man isn't the one with the most money, but the one with the most love. Will you marry me? Tears streamed down Amara's face as she nodded. Yes, she whispered. Yes, I will. As Liam slipped the ring on her finger, cheers erupted around them. The garden volunteers, community members, and even Henry, who had somehow made his way over with surprising speed for a man with a walker, all clapped and whistled. I told you she'd say yes, Henry said triumphantly. Just like your grandmother did to me right in that diner all those years ago. Later that evening, as the festival wound down, Liam and Amara sat on a bench beneath the garden's oldest tree. The setting sun cast a golden glow over the thriving plants and happy faces of the community members still lingering. What made you finally decide? Amara asked, leaning against his shoulder. To change the company, to buy the lot, to propose. All of it. Liam thought about it, watching Henry chatting animatedly with Maya and some of the older garden volunteers. I realized that all my life I've been trying to build something that would last, a business empire that would be my legacy. But what good is a legacy if it doesn't make the world better? He turned to face her, taking in her beautiful face, now so dear to him. You showed me that. Real wealth isn't what you have, it's what you give. And love, real love, isn't something you can buy or earn. It's something you share. Amara cupped his face in her hands. For a billionaire CEO, you're pretty wise, she teased, then kissed him softly. As the stars began to appear above them, Liam held the woman he loved in his arms, surrounded by the community that had become his own. For the first time in his life, Liam Harrington felt truly, completely rich, with the one thing his money could never buy, a heart full of love, freely given. The end.